Using a lumber rule. In this learning object, you will learn how to quickly and accurately calculate board footage using a lumber rule. After successfully completing this unit, take some time to practice measuring boards with a real lumber rule. A lumber rule is designed to quickly and accurately estimate board footage. Before describing how to use a lumber rule, let's quickly review what a board foot is. One board foot is the equivalent of 144 cubic inches, or the equivalent of a piece of wood 1 inch thick by 12 inches wide by 12 inches long. Board footage is calculated by one of the following formulas. The length of the board in inches times the width in inches times its thickness in inches divided by 144, or the length in feet times the width in inches times the thickness in inches divided by 12. Now let's look carefully at a lumber rule. There are 3 parts to it: the head, the shaft, and the handle. The head has sharp points to keep it from slipping along the board, and a gauge to check the thickness of the lumber. The shaft is flexible but strong, and it contains 3 columns per side. The number just below the head designates the length of the board. The handle is designed to be a comfortable counterbalance to the weight of the head. With a lumber rule, the user merely measures the width of the board and reads from the column that corresponds to the correct length of the board. In this case, either 8 feet, 10 feet, or 18 feet on one side, or 12 foot, 6 foot, or 16 feet on the other. To use the lumber rule, to check the thickness of your stock, measure the width of the board and find the number in the correct column. For example, the board below is 4/4 thick and 8 feet long. This board contains 3 board feet. Now you try. The board below is 4/4 thick by 10 feet in length. Follow the numbers. How many board feet are in this board? If you said 5, you are correct. What happens when the width of the board lands between 2 numbers? Most dealers round the board foot values to the nearest whole number. For example, any fraction of a half of a board foot or more is rounded up. Anything less than a half of a board foot is rounded down. This board is closer to 4 board feet than it is to 3. Therefore, it would be sold as 4 board feet. Multipliers. The numbers on a lumber rule are for 4/4 or 1 inch thick lumber. When measuring anything other than 4/4 material, the user must use a multiplier. For 5/4 lumber, the multiplier would be 1.25. For 6/4 lumber, the multiplier would be 1.5. And for 8/4 lumber, the multiplier would be 2. The numbers on a lumber rule are for 4/4 thick lumber. When measuring anything other than 4/4, the user must use a multiplier. To calculate the correct quantity of board feet for this 5/4 thick board, you would multiply the reading, 4 board feet, times 1.25 to get a total of 5 board feet. Similarly, this 8/4 board, which is 10 feet in length, would be calculated as follows. The 10-foot column over is 5 board feet, but the wood is 2 inches thick, so we multiply that to have a grand total of 10 board feet. Now it's your turn to take some readings. 4/4 board, 10 feet long. How many board feet? If you said 5, you are correct. 6/4 board, 18 feet long. We measure, surface measure of 7.5 board feet. We use our multiplier times 1.5, and you will end up with just a little bit over 11, which would be rounded to 11. A 5/4 board, 8 feet long, measures about 3.75 board feet. Multiply that times 1.25, and your answer is approximately 5 board feet. A 4/4 board, 18 feet long. Measure your surface measure. You should have said 6 board feet. An 8/4 board, 18 feet long, so we use this column. Measures 5 board feet. Don't let the little dashed line, that's not a half, that's the line for 5 board feet. But it's 8/4 thick, so our multiplier is 2. So 5 times 2 is 10. Congratulations! You're now ready to practice using a real lumber rule. Be careful though, the tips on the head are very sharp.